We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in live. If you are live, go ahead and drop a hashtag live in the comments right there. We want to interact with you. Today it's going to be a Fast and Furious episode for different reasons, but we're here to celebrate 100 episodes. Guys, we made it. Fonzie, you didn't put the kids like, yay!
Oh, no, I created the sound. I didn't create the sound. I did the sound. You didn't put it in the machine, but it doesn't matter.
Let's get right into it, Fonzie. Let's get right into it.
First of all, we need to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
to you that are listening right now and supporting Content is Profit. It means the world to us.
Yes.
I mean, without you guys, right? It wouldn't be
It wouldn't
anything.
it would be like episode 5.
Probably.
Like Bruce and Bros when we first started.
Thank you so much for keeping
Yes.
us accountable. It
Thank
means
you.
the world for us. And thank you to the incredible guests and
Absolutely.
relationships that we've been able to build throughout the show.
I know, like
It's been incredible.
We need to just come one day and just have like the list of everybody and just be like, thank you, and ping, 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 everybody. We've had
Yes.
over 80 guests in the show so far. Incredible. Thank you so much for if you've been part of the Content is Profit family. We thank you from the bottom of our heart, and we can't wait to do maybe round 2 at some point.
For the next 100 episodes, we want to know, what do you want to learn about
Yes.
content, about
Yes.
publishing? Who do you want from? Who should we bring to Content is Profit? Or
That's right.
what topics would you like us to discuss at Content is Profit?
That's right. So guys, because we have 18 minutes to do this and we're committed to do this fast and furious, we're going to get right into it. Now, when we first started, right, and we shared this story in the past here and there about the amount of friction that we had when we first started to think about even publishing a podcast. We started recording Fonzie's room with the bed, massive light, like 2 cameras. Definitely looked like a set of something different.
It
not
looked
just
like a porn studio.
A porn studio,
Yes.
pretty much, yeah. And it was very weird. And we decided to call this show Bruce and Bros. And we will come in, after
After
taking
a long day of work.
long day at work, long day of
Yeah.
studying, the One Phone Away challenge. This was like back in 2019, it was, right? Like
Yes,
beginning of
that was
2019.
the beginning of the year of 2019.
And almost 2 years now. Crazy how time flies. But anyways, and we bought all this equipment and we put it in this room and we started recording it like 10 p.m. at night. We had to like do all the setups with the cameras.
Yeah, it would just take us about an hour
just to set up.
Yeah, just to set up everything. So then we could get started recording.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the energy. We were already tired from trying to set up everything. And I was like, oh, man. And now to ensure we are recording it right? Because
Exactly.
we were so afraid of making mistakes.
Not only that, we decided to grab a beer because we're like, okay, it's nighttime. Let's just like do this. So we were in risk of becoming alcoholics.
In part, that's why it was called Bruce and Bros. But not only that, remember, the cameras that we were recording with, they had a 20-minute limit. So we were filming, and when one camera would, turn off, you would start talking, and I would like get up and turn it on again and then sit down. And then when the other camera would stop recording, we're like, oh no, do it all over again. So friction as
much friction as possible.
Yeah, literally.
So the thought was, hey, let's release 1 episode a week, right? So we can sit down and do this, one time and do 5 episodes. But then this is what like I hated the most. We had to edit all that stuff, right? Like the 2 cameras and the thing. And Fonzie was Mr. Perfectionist back then. So he's like, I'm not going to release anything that doesn't look 100% quality.
Yeah. And I'm gonna, if you're listening this right now, I'm gonna send you into a trip to the future. But when we release episode 106 with Holy Homer, please, I was gonna say watch that, but listen to
Just
that.
listen to
that episode because it is
to the whole
amazing.
It is really
especially talking about quality versus quantity. is
Yeah.
gonna blow your mind. All right, back to the present.
Back to today, episode 100.
100.
So anyways, we identified that there was a ton of friction, and we didn't publish, right? And then we're back in our spaces, like, you gotta publish. Like, this is that we attribute like our success to publishing and consistently, and we're like, man, like, does it have to be like this painful? Because like for us it really was, and like nothing was released. So it's like, man, like, it's a very steep hill, like, if we have to do this consistently for a long time, right? And then what happened, Fonzie? Like, fast forward till COVID time.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward, but before we fast forward, my brother actually dropped his beer on the computer.
Yeah, that
I
happened.
just gotta add that, and then we were like,
thank you for not letting
you
it
don't
go.
know, you know, this is not worth it. We're just getting all mad at each other, and we haven't edited any of the episodes. We'll never edit any of the episodes. So you know what? We put all the equipment away, and we're like, yeah, let's let it just gather some dust, which, you know, big mistake. But then
big mistake.
we were like, okay, we were struggling. We had some clients punch us in the gut by saying, you guys are doing some good work, but you guys are not doing that work for yourself. You guys are not publishing. That's when the concept of 45 Live started, which, if you want to know more about 45 Live and how you can get started, again, we love to share this information with people because it actually helps them start publishing, right? Just go to contentisprofit.com, and in there you can find the minimal viable content, which is the principle behind 45 Live that helped us just be consistent. So after that, COVID hit, right? We were already publishing a little bit more. We didn't have the podcast yet, but we lost our biggest client at that moment, which represented like
80%.
So, yeah, it was like 80% of our business, right? So overnight, it was more like overday. Bam! It was gone. And my brother immediately fell into darkness.
Bawling, crying inside of me.
Total darkness. Like, you know, when you enter a room and the room, like, everything inside the room weighs like 100 pounds more, and you're like, oh geez, what just happened? And you can barely walk. Like, gravity is like extra.
It was
extra gravity.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for not calling me fat, but it's okay. Anyway, so yeah, Fonzie's like, go to the, like, you've heard of this story, you know, go outside, go walk it off. And then we came back, and, you know, one of our like clients right there, like, we just started working with at the time, he started to he was publishing for a while 3 times a week. So Fonzie here says, hey, let's change perspective, right? Like, this is an opportunity. It's not a bad thing, right? A lot of people, I feel like a lot of people in 2020 have gone through that process. Thought the was gonna like close doors. That's it, like game over.
I gotta add this. I never thought the business was gonna close. I always had faith. I always have.
You're
no, I did really like. Did I get sad when we lost our biggest client? Yes, but immediately I was like, oh man, they were a pain. We were trying to get rid of them for a while.
That's right.
So I was like, you know what?
I know
it all happens for a reason. It is always for the best reason.
I'm the one that like looks at the numbers like almost every single day. So I literally was like, okay, we don't have much runway here, right? But I mean, worst case scenario, what's gonna happen? Then we go back and do something different. Anyways, so change the perspective, and he's like, dude, like, why don't we like release the show? Like, this is the time to do this, right? This is the time to do it. And we're like, yes, let's model after Josh. Shout out to Josh 40, because we model our show how we do it live 3 times a week because of him. And we're like, let's just shorten that learning curve. Let's just do it.
I mean, we also referred to our pain a year and a half before that. And we were like, we don't want to experience that. We actually want to get it out of the door. And then we related it to 45 Live and the minimal viable content, contentisprofit.com. Go check it out.
Go check it out.
And we were like, that's it, right? Yeah. Let's do it live, remove the friction, and it's going to be out there.
Yeah, that's true. So then that's how we started. And the first 20 episodes really was just us two talking just like we are today, following a very specific framework that we could dive in, maybe in a different episode. And it was like super simple. It was like story, teaching moments, story, teaching moments, right? And story, teaching moments. It was like 3 stories, right? At least we try to stick to that. And
it was vehicle, internal, external.
Vehicle, internal, external.
If you want to know more about that, slide in the DMs.
Exactly. So, and then that allowed us to repeat the format, the framework every single time. So we didn't have to overthink of what we're talking. So we're coming up with like one solution, and then we're describing those stories and then putting a call to action. Guess what? In 2 weeks, somebody from the audience reached out that we had like our previous relationship with, not like very much. Like, we met this person in an event, and he's like, guys, I want to work with you guys. Can you can you explain to me a little bit more what you do as a service? And we're like, absolutely. And that relationship started right there. And it has been a great relationship ever since. So we recover ourselves very quickly. And then within a month, these conversations start to happen because we're putting ourselves out there. We're being the what's the principle you said yesterday? The outgoing extroverts.
The extrovert
We're being the
theory.
extroverts. We're like creating all these points of contact, not just with the show, but then with conversations after the show.
Yep.
We're commenting, we're engaging, right? And then we're getting on these calls to see how we can help each other. And guess what? Within a month, we triple the sales. Within a month, guys, of publishing consistently, just the show, right? So then
we asked yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
what can we do? Because obviously doing it just by ourselves, we are kind of like limiting or growth in a sense. Like we are not tapping into other people's audiences, or we're not tapping into some potential relationships that we could be building. So we're like, what can we do? And we started looking at other people's podcasts, and we're like, look at that. They have guests. What if we ourselves bring in some guests? And first we brought one of our awesome friends and partners that shout out to Pat Bro.
Coming back soon, coming back.
Yes, coming back. He's actually
in studio.
Just so you guys know, he's actually only guest that we had in has gotten an epic intro.
So we're gonna do our best.
We had to bring him back to give him an epic intro.
Pat Bro, shout out to you, my man.
That's right. So when we started reaching out to people to bring them into the podcast, again, it was super organic. We're like, hey, how you doing? We started a conversation. Can you add value? Yes, of course. You know, we would love for you to be in Content is Profit and share your message with everybody. Most people get extremely excited. And they're like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it together, right? So we were, how can we make this process, again, as painless as possible? How can we remove the friction? And my brother actually is great at that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Really? You think so?
I think you are great at removing friction at first. And then we both like
balance it out.
Balance it together and try to streamline. But you are the first one, because I got the perfection genes.
That's right. That's right. You're trying to get rid of them. You're trying to get rid of them. But you're doing great progress. So
appreciate it. So I'm actually going to, you know, we have the process right here. So if you got pen and paper,
this is the time. This is the time.
Electronic, you take notes electronically. They always make fun of me because I use pen and paper, but it's okay, guys. First, you contact the person that you want to connect with, that you want to bring into the podcast, right?
Very important.
If you have something that you can leverage, that'll be even better. Example or second guess was the none other than Steve Larson, the capitalist pig. Oink, oink, Steve. Let's go. And, you know, we were afraid of him saying no because we were, you know, starting our podcast. We had like 20 episodes only. But guess what? We used leverage because we had been to his events. We have met him in person. We were in other of his programs, right?
Well, by the way, not only 20 episodes, because the benchmark right there is 7 episodes. After 7 episodes, I think like the study is about 90% of the podcasters that start after 7 episodes, they just drop. So if you have a podcast and you're past those 7 episodes, congrats. Huge shout out because you're amazing.
Yep, that's right. So, again, pen and paper, guys. So we contact them. Use leverage again to bring them on the show to get that conversation going on. Like, hey, I want to expose you and your message in my platform. Another quick example was Todd Brown.
That
was an awesome one. Yeah, that was actually we leverage his book and him actually answering to some stories so we can bring him into the show. Now we have, you know, since we do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we check which days we have available, and we only give them 3 options every single time. Hey, these are the 3 dates and time that we are going to be live.
The reason we do very specific to where like here is the slots is we've been on the other side. It's like, hey, you choose, right? And then is a long back and forth, right? So we decided to like, we're only gonna give them 2 options. This is it. Like if it doesn't work, we're gonna give them other 2 options, right? Because we are running obviously a business. We're running the show, so that is just very easy, and that's very easy also for the guests. They just have to make one choice. It's like either yes or no, right? Very similar to sales.
We want to make it easy for them. What's in it for them, right?
What's in it for them?
Now, after we do that and they confirm, we already have a template, right? It's like a thank you so much for being part of the Content is Profit family. This is what you need to do, right? For what we need from you so we can make you shine in the podcast. And it is just one email. We send that email. with a little form that we created with a few questions, specific questions that then we use to craft our intros, right?
Yeah. By the way, like this probably takes about 3 minutes, like less than 3 minutes to fill out. So again, what's in it for your guests? Like make that process very simple.
I must add the template of the email, personalize it.
It's a
template.
structure.
Exactly. The template is a structure. It's not a copy and paste.
Yeah.
Personalize it. Make them, show them that you actually care. So
because you actually do. I mean, they're taking time of their day to come to your show
and share their incredible
message.
Exactly. So we send that, and then we send a calendar invite, and that's it. They're booked for the podcast. It's pretty simple. Then
before they come on, like before the show day, like this is something that we definitely need to get a little bit better at. As we got a little bit busier, it has falling off, but we're making a commitment. Like the day before, the night before, just check like who's coming to the show, right? Like normally, like we know who's coming, right? Just send them a quick message. If you connected over Facebook, Instagram, or email, send them a quick message. Hey, Luis, I am so excited to have you on the show tomorrow. We got everything that we needed. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow at time, right? That way is just a quick reminder, friendly thing. Like sometimes, the person on the other side are very, very busy with their day, and sometimes they might not remember. So just a quick touch, it helps a ton. It goes a long way. Sometimes we've done it where people don't even like fill their form, and immediately right there, it's like, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Here's the form, here's the info, and then we get everything that we need to prepare to the show.
Yeah, that's right. Just so you know, we are not sharing too much about the tools, because the tools are, you can use whatever is more convenient for you, whatever gives you the least friction. I'm just going to share. We use StreamYard because it's so freaking easy. Share a link and you're in.
That's it.
We tried Ecam Live, and that added a lot of friction for our process. So we're like, no, goodbye. And
ciao.
Oh, it said
we got 14 minutes.
Yeah,
can we get it done in 14 minutes?
We actually got like 5.
We actually 5 minutes. My goodness.
But let me go. So next step, right? Day of the podcast. They come in. We are ready. Actually, an hour before the start of the podcast, that's when we actually craft the intro.
Well, right now it's like more like 30 minutes, but we started. It started being an hour. We got a little bit better at it.
In the calendar is an hour before.
Yeah.
But we have this. Literally is a Google Doc that is called the batch board. Again, my brother was awesome.
That one is the content. That one's the show cheat sheet.
Oh, that's
getting it wrong.
Yes.
It's a cheat sheet.
My bad. Yeah, it's called the podcast cheat sheet.
Come on,
right?
FONZI.
And literally what it is a structure for the show. We don't have actually questions we ask only at the very end. But that being said, we make our content with the repurposing in mind, right? So we follow a structure, right? We have the intro, right? Then always, if you have noticed, if it's a first-time guest, we always ask about their backstory. Why is that? Epiphany Bridge story, right? We start with the backstory so the listeners can relate. They are, wow, they were where I am right now. I want to keep listening. I want to keep learning from this amazing guest. And then we let the conversation flow. But if it gets to a point where like, well, you know what, we think we're a little stuck, we always go back to the Epiphany Bridge script and we ask about the challenges. What was that challenge, right? We talk a lot about pre-Epiphany moments. A lot of that in the Epiphany Bridge script. So if you're not familiar with it, just slide in the DMs. I'll send you a picture. We can talk about it. But then we ask very specific questions related to content. Of course, because that's what we're talking, right? We know the pains that you guys are going through when you want to publish, right? Those fears of putting yourself out there. So
and how do we know? We see it in every post. We ask, we interact, we engage with the audience afterwards. Again, those points of contact.
So everything, so everything that happens in between in that structure, right? Between backstory and end of the episode questions are questions related to pains that we know the audience have, right? At the same time, we make it as exciting as we can for the guests. And we've said this multiple times. We actually do these episodes for ourselves because we're extremely curious and we want to learn way more. And we are extremely happy that you are coming along in this journey with us.
After that, we have 2 very specific questions that for the sake of time, we're not going to share. We're going to have to do this again and like go super deep. If you agree, just let us know in the comments. But those 2 questions are meant for something different. They're not for content on social media. They are for sales pages and testimonials, right? So they're very specific ones. And right after that, we obviously say goodbye. We share.
Let us know in the comments if you would like for us to go deep
Into this process.
into the podcast cheat sheet.
Or if you're listening, send us a DM, right? And let us know, like, hey, this is really worth it, that this is helping. After we ask all those questions and the show is over, then we have a little behind the scenes conversation with our guest to see if there's potential opportunities in there where we can collaborate with each other. Either we could become a client like of them, or they can become a client of us, or is there a potential partnership in here that we can play with, right? So there's a very specific questions that we ask. Obviously, we build rapport. If we don't see that there's a fit, that conversation doesn't even happen. But we've been very fortunate to have these amazing conversations, and a lot of awesome projects are going on, not only for them being clients of us, but for us being part of an opportunity with them, or helping them, or elevating like different events. That's a little bit how it happened, how we ended up in Marley Jack's VIP event as speakers. And we're super thankful for all those opportunities. And then there's the post-production where we come in, and there's also a structure after that, but it's like everything is, how can we make it frictionless? So we invested in a tool called the Rodecaster, which is the one that records the audio, the very smooth audio, and there's literally no post-production. We literally grab the memory card, we put it in the computer, we chop like onto the very first start, and that's it, and we export the audio. There's no editing whatsoever on the audio.
Yeah, no, it makes the process very simple. And again, does the Rodecaster, is it an investment? Yes, absolutely. But the investment has paid off because it has saved us so much time, right? And pain on learning how to, edit all this audio, do all this post-production stuff. Like, it is literally ready to go. So again, I know this was extremely fast, extremely quick. And there are some steps in the post-production process that we do then to promote the podcast. Because again, it's not just about creating and putting it out there. You have to spend time promoting your content, right? Content without promotion doesn't get anywhere. You need to promote it, share it with people, right? And then we actually plug our content momentum process into the post-production so we could leverage that and have a lot of assets, so then we can share with the world like little minions that can get you clients.
So to put the cherry on top, right?
There we go.
Yeah, I got it right this time. Okay, the cherry on top, guys. So we started this process in March with 3 episodes a week. It was just a Facebook Live, and then we added the promotion block of like, how do we promote this content, right? If you want us to kind of dive into that, let us know. We'll do another episode, maybe just the promotion side of things. Then we added these like frameworks on how to conduct the interview, because we noticed that it was very similar, every single day. And for the guest, it might be the first time that they experience something like that. For us, we've done it about 90 times almost, right? Which is incredible. And then you get better and you can play with it, right? But just make sure that you have a structure, right? A fixed structure that is easy for you to execute. Then we started adding the post-production element of it. And then at the end, that's when we started adding the multiplication, the M2M process, the content momentum process that we do with our clients. And that's how we're able to publish more than 100 pieces of content every single week. Now, with Holly, she told us that she published about 75 times a day.
You're going back into the future.
I know, I'm going back into the future. Anyways, listen to that episode when it comes out.
That's a good hook.
In a few weeks. That's a good
Episode
hook.
106, 75 pieces of content a day.
Yes. And through the relationships that we were able to build through the consistent publishing, through the guests that we've had and those conversations, that because we think we have the same mentality, like it's very synergistic.
I don't know.
We've been able to 10x and build a business around the publishing platform, and we're super, super thankful. So this was an episode that we wanted to uncover a little bit behind the scenes.
I just want to add this for an extra cherry on the top.
Oh, wow.
Which is
that has to be a good balance.
The whole thing of removing friction is to reduce decision fatigue. That's it, right? Like, you don't want to have to create a podcast and have to make all these decisions like on how I do this all over again.
Absolutely.
And every single time you're creating new processes in your head, that's just going to be exhausting. And that's why people fall off the train, if you want to call it that way, right?
Yeah.
Just create that simple process that you can do every single time. Actually write it down and you say step 1, step 2, this is what I do. And you reduce decision fatigue, and it's going to be so easy for you to continue to do it on the long term. That's exactly what we have done. Do we have the simplest of processes? I don't think so. Probably not, right? Yeah. It is very simple for us. It removes the friction that we had on the table. Can we remove some friction? Probably yes. And we're going to still work on that. Right. But again, it takes away all those that decision fatigue.
Yeah. Keep in mind what is it gonna take for you to stay consistent, right? And then if you're finding some roadblocks or friction, just grab that and be like, how can I take care of that ahead of time, so then I can execute? Because literally execution has been the only thing that changed from what we were doing before, right? And that's why we've been able to publish all these episodes. That's how we've been able to develop these amazing relationships with people like Marley Jacks, Gene Beard, Todd Brown, Steve Larson. Like it's incredible, the amazing Pablo. Like it's just incredible. Wally Conway, Pablo, like all our guests. So anyways, I hope this was really helpful. I know that this was like super quick and super like over, but we just wanted to open the door.
It was 0 to 100.
0 to 100.
Literally.
0 to 100. So if you want to find out more on how we do this, this is, by the way, not what we do for the service. We do the M2M, but we're happy to share. We have nothing to hide. Let us know in the comments. Let us know through the DMs if you want to know a little bit more on how we run the show.
At BIZBROS Co. on Facebook and Instagram.
Sweet.
And I think that's it, guys.
With that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BIZBROS Co.
That's right. And if you find this episode impactful, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Thank you.